February 5, 1917, gateways closed. The Immigration Act of 1917, passed by the United States Congress, introduced major changes to American immigration policy. Also known as the Asiatic Barred Zone Act, it established new restrictions on immigration, including literacy tests and the exclusion of certain geographic regions. The act was enacted over President Woodrow Wilson's veto, indicating strong congressional support for immigration control measures during this time. This act was the result of legislative efforts that began in the late 19th century. The Immigration Restriction League, founded in 1894, advocated for literacy tests as a method to regulate immigration. Previous attempts to implement similar measures were vetoed by Presidents Grover Cleveland in 1897 and William Howard Taft in 1913. However, by 1917, the political climate supported the passage of this law. The act introduced a literacy test requirement for immigrants over the age of 16. Immigrants were required to read a 40-word passage in their native language. This requirement was intended to limit the number of immigrants who did not meet the literacy standard. Another key provision was the establishment of the Asiatic Barred Zone. This zone included large areas of Asia and the Pacific Islands, from which immigration was prohibited. Exceptions were made for certain countries, including Japan and the Philippines, due to existing diplomatic agreements and the Philippines' status as a U.S. territory. The act also expanded the list of inadmissible classes of immigrants. It barred individuals classified as undesirables and those with mental or physical defects that could affect their ability to earn a living. These provisions were part of the broader effort to regulate the qualities of individuals allowed to enter the United States. This act had a significant impact on U.S. immigration policy. It led to a decrease in immigration from the regions and groups affected by the new restrictions. Additionally, it set a legal precedent for future legislation, including the Immigration Act of 1924, which introduced national origin quotas and further restricted immigration. The Immigration Act of 1917 remains a notable piece of legislation in the history of U.S. immigration law. Its provisions and their implementation influenced immigration patterns and policy decisions in the United States for many years after its enactment. For enthusiasts of historical ephemera, visit history-collectors.com to find collectibles that might complement your collection. You can own a piece of history.